Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of our podcast. I'm Yasmyn.
And I'm Madison.
And this is MYLFS Podcast.
Also known as Madison, Yasmyn, and Little Friends. Last episode, we talked about Yasmyn's birth stories and pregnancies, and this time we're going to be diving into mine.
So this week's question is from Adriana Sosnowski.
We're sorry
I really
if we
hope I don't
pronounced
say
her
this
name
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah. The question is, what is something you guys miss the most from your pre-pregnancy/baby life?
I would probably say sleep.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Sawyer still wakes up probably like 3 times a night. So
Yeah, she just turned 1.
And she's 1. So I'm lacking in that area.
Yeah, that's definitely a hard part. Luckily for me, my kids all sleep through the night now, so have that back. But that is definitely a really hard part about baby life. Honestly, it's just a general, feeling of freedom and less responsibility. Because we had our kids so young, I never had, an adult life without kids, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, you were even younger too.
Yeah. So I went straight from having no responsibilities straight into having to care for a whole human. So it was a really big switch up. I never eased into having to worry about a house or bills or anything like that before having a kid.
And plus, because you were younger, you didn't necessarily get to experience the high school life.
Exactly.
Either.
I missed out on a lot of years of that kind of freedom. I mean, obviously I wouldn't change it for the world, but that definitely is
I wouldn't either. It's worth it.
And I feel I was also just am such a free spirit kind of person. Yeah, that's definitely hard, feeling my kids, trying to still be that way without letting my kids weigh me down, if that makes sense.
I feel you have a good balance though. You and Logan really try to make an effort to be your own person.
Yeah, for
not
sure.
just mom and dad.
Yeah. You were 19 when you found out.
I was.
Pregnant, right? So how did you find out in the reaction and your relationship status and all of that?
So I was 19 and I was together with my baby daddy at the time. We talked a little bit about this on the last episode, symptoms and stuff, and my titties were a little bigger than normal and they hurt, so I decided to take a pregnancy test because my periods are not regular. So that was the only sign that I really had to, maybe I could be pregnant. So I took a test and obviously it came back positive.
Wait, question, were you on birth control?
Well, technically yes, but I was one of those girls that was not taking it for a week and pop 4.
That sounds not safe. I mean, I wasn't on birth control, also
and
get judged.
The next month I wouldn't take it at all and start back up. So
no.
There was probably
don't
recommend that. It's really probably not good for your hormones either.
Yeah, I cannot imagine what that does.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
I don't either. So I'm not going to get back on birth control because obviously I can't take them very good anyway. I was actually with my baby daddy when we found out, and he flipped the test over and we both were just it was just silence.
Yeah.
That was it. It was just silence. Nothing was really going through my head. It was just okay. What
was your immediate, your feelings about him? Was your immediate thought, oh my gosh, we're gonna have a baby together? Or oh shoot,
No, so I was okay, we're gonna have family.
Yeah.
I feel that's what most people the hope is for.
Yeah.
You're gonna stay with him and you're going to have a little family together, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it didn't turn out that way, and it's a good thing. I just feel it was too much to process at the time, to really understand, the future part.
Right, because in your head it's easy to be I wanted a family.
Yeah.
But then, all of the hard parts that go into making a relationship as parents work is,
yeah, we never
so
even
much more
got there.
Yeah.
I feel it took me a little bit to process, but then it took him even longer. I swear, she was born and he's still processing.
Yeah.
But I feel that just, speaks a lot on his character. We ended up telling, after the initial shock, it was, later that night, we ended up telling his, somehow, he's related. It's, a cousin. She's probably 17. So she was younger. We were friends. She was nice. And I feel like she was funny. So I needed, like, something to, like,
ease the tension
and just, like, go with the flow, lighten the mood a little bit. And it was the complete opposite. So I told her, we, like, FaceTimed her, and her immediate reaction was just, like, there was just, like, silence again. And I was like, okay. She went into, was like, well, what are you gonna do? And I was like, oh, most likely, like, I'm gonna keep my baby.
Yeah.
Because for me personally, like, I'm pro-choice, but for myself, I personally wouldn't get an abortion because I don't think I could handle the aftermath of it, like, the emotional
100%. Yeah, that's why I chose, that as well.
And so she was like, well, you should just get an abortion, and decided to come over the next day and had a pre-written, like, list of reasons why I should abort my baby. And, like, literally sat us down on this couch or the bed and was, like, listed one by one and, like, had a detailed explanation of why.
Oh my God. And do you remember any of the...
Yeah, it was like, you have no life, financial.
No life.
Yeah. Your life is ruined. It's like, oh my God. And mind you, like, I just found out too. So
yeah, that's like the last thing you need.
Right. Like, I'm still, like, going through the motions of, like, okay, like, this is my reality. Like, it's okay. You know, everything happens for a reason. And then you, like, get thrown into this, like, phase of being told what to do. And then also, like, the aftermath, like, I am keeping her. So, like, it just kind of hurt my feelings that you would be like, don't keep her. Or I didn't know it was a girl at the time. But I just feel like that's a really shitty move.
Yeah, that's, like, the last thing, like, someone who just found out they're pregnant needs.
Yeah. Like,
obviously, it's, like, it's hard because we're younger. Because I feel like for older moms that, like, even older moms that maybe weren't planning it,
their reactions are always like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. They're supportive.
Yeah.
And I feel like no matter what age, like, if your friends are getting pregnant or whatever, like, you should still be supportive.
Yeah, I feel like go into it, like, even if you think maybe this person, like, doesn't want to have a baby, like, go into it positively and be like, wow, like, that's amazing news. Like,
yes.
And like, wait for them to come to you and be like, this is what I want to do. Because, like, why do you care?
Exactly.
Like, why would anyone else care if you just want to have a baby or not?
Right. Like, they should always go into the, like, I guess the conversation with an open mind and just be there and be like, look, we're going to be here for you no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's what a supportive friend, family member does for somebody in their life. And
100%.
If you don't do that, then you're not a real friend and you're also a shitty family member.
I feel like those were the best reactions for me, like, that made me feel the most supported in, like, such a scary time of my life was the people that weren't saying, like, this is what you have to do. The people that were, like, willing to support no matter
what you decided.
Yeah. And I feel like for both of us, we definitely experienced both, like, different reactions, like, from both sides. People being
good
like,
and bad.
You have to have the baby, like, and people like, you can't have the baby. So at the end of the day, for anyone listening to this, maybe going through something similar, the only person who can make that decision is you.
Not even your baby daddy.
Yeah, no.
Like, not even your parents. Your body, your choice. Whether you want to keep your baby, give your baby up for adoption, or not have your baby.
Yeah.
Like, it's 100%. No one else's choice.
Controversial opinion of mine. I've heard this. I think I heard it on, oh God, maybe it was, like, a comedy show or, like, something, but we've talked about it a lot in our household. I think that, like, obviously, like, a baby daddy should not get to say whether or not, you know, you keep the baby because it's your body going through pregnancy and all that, and, like, they shouldn't get to make that decision for you, even if it's their baby. But they also should get to decide whether or not they want to be involved and then not have to pay child support. Which some people maybe don't agree with that, but, like, I think if they don't want to be involved at all, they should just get to be gone done. And not have to, terminate their rights and not have to pay.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Especially, like, if you know you're not going to be a good influence in your child's life and, you know, you just aren't going to be a good dad, so you decide to... Like, I would have more respect for people, like, guys, if they decided this is not good for me or the child, so I'm just going to let him be, and then like not disrupt.
Yeah, 100%, because in my opinion, an absent parent is way better than an inconsistent parent.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and I think that also they shouldn't have to pay.
If you're not involved, you don't have to pay.
Yeah.
Now, if you are involved, like...
Yeah, you don't just get to come show up when you want and not support.
Yeah, I feel like, and it depends on, like, the situation, obviously. We're not saying, like, what you should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But if you are involved, you shouldn't have to pay. But if you're just going to be here and there, like, first off, that's not good.
Yeah.
For the child at all, because it's just inconsistent, unstable.
Yeah, confusing.
Confusing for the baby, or I guess the child.
Yeah.
But...
And a baby, I mean.
Yeah. In and out, no. What does Kayla call it? She calls it a birthday card dad.
Yeah, birthday card dad.
Don't be a birthday card dad.
Don't do that.
Either leave or be a dad.
I feel like that was because I grew up without my dad in my life, and I honestly feel like it was, like, I can't imagine what it would have been like if he was, like, in and out, but, like, I always felt content with him just not being there, period, because I was just like, okay, like...
Isn't that weird, though, that you would have more respect for somebody who just, like, just knew, like... he wasn't going to be a good influence and decided to do what's best for the child.
100% I do. I have respect for him because he even said that. Like, my family members have told me that he was like, yeah, he knew that your life would be better without him because he had a lot of stuff going on, wasn't, like, the best point of his life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he just knew it would be better for me to, like, not be involved, which is, like, such a sad reality, but, like, I have a lot of respect for him for that. And dad, too, do that. Layla's dad, like, stays pretty much uninvolved, and I think that's probably why a little bit.
It's for the best.
Yeah. So that was the first person you told. How was, like, telling your family and his family, just the whole start of your pregnancy, I guess?
My first trimester was super, like, health-wise, like, I had a really good, healthy pregnancy. I was super lucky. But my first trimester, I dealt with a lot emotionally from my baby daddy, his family. But my family, I was, like, just overwhelmed by all the support that they gave me.
Yeah, I love your family. They're, like, so amazing and loving, and I just love that for you.
They were seriously, it wasn't, like, surprising, but it was just, like,
relieving.
Very relieving.
Yeah.
The fact that they were like, okay, like, we can do this, like, we love you, we're gonna love your baby, and they've been like that ever since.
Aww.
So, but his family, some of them were supportive. And then I had to deal with a family member of his as well who decided to talk about me behind my back to, like, the whole county. And on top of that, decided to call me personally, Facebook message my mom and my dad, and just basically bash, like, me, my baby, and, like, the pregnancy. I mean, I was already, like, emotional because you're just emotional in general as a pregnant person. So... yeah, it just dealing with that was hard. And then on top of that, when we told friends that we thought were friends, the girl decided to go around town and tell all the younger people as well.
Yeah.
So then I had to announce my pregnancy earlier because everybody was finding out because of this one girl and because another one of his family members was telling people as well.
I feel like we've talked about this, but it's crazy also just the difference in finding out you're pregnant when you're so young versus, like, being older and it being acceptable. Like, it's, people respect your privacy so much more. Or, I don't know, maybe not always, obviously, but, like, I feel like more commonly people respect the privacy of, like, older couples find out they're pregnant. Like, obviously you don't go talking about it. It's not like the town gossip, but, like, when someone who's young is, it's, like, immediately the town gossip.
Oh my gosh, I can talk about her now, like, tells everybody.
Hell, like,
it's so crazy the difference, because I'm like,
that's just always how it's been, which is, like,
so weird.
Makes sense, but it's sad.
But, like, we are not, like, in the space to be talked about, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're still carrying a baby and, like, dealing with everything.
Yeah, I know.
Just like an older
so much
person
harder.
would.
Exactly. No respect out here.
No. Jeez, people.
Yeah, but I had even the same thing. Even when, like, Logan and I had our own place and we're together, like, when we found out we were pregnant with Anna, like, it was, like, everyone knew before we, like, announced it. Which is also, like, another thing with pregnancy. Most people wait to announce until after the first trimester.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, because it's still, like, after the first trimester, you're, like, way less likely to, like, miscarry and stuff like that.
Plus you get, like, ultrasounds and, like, blood work. It's just more
safer, versus, like, obviously, like, announcing right away and then, like, having complications and then having to tell everyone, like, separately. It's just kind of so rude to go out and like tell people earlier than you want to announce to the world.
So, and we did, like, me and my baby daddy did end up telling everybody together. So that was like one, like, that was a positive in it, that I didn't have to do it all by myself.
You said your first trimester like emotionally was hard, but what were your other like symptoms that you would say like were?
I did have morning sickness, but it's not really morning sickness.
Yeah, it's all day.
It's all day. But like, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in the last video, but I would not like get nauseous. I would just like throw up.
Yeah.
But we learned, a trick that you have to eat. So once I figured that out,
I learned a trick.
Yeah, learned a little trick. So once I figured that out, it was a little bit better. But other than that, I just I had back pain like later on. But that was about it. I was pretty like decently lucky when it came to like pregnancy symptoms.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, with my first same, it was like pretty just normal, I guess. Like nothing felt that much different.
But then with Anna.
Yeah, and then after that, it was just like a mess.
Crazy.
Yeah. When did you become a single mom? Like when in your pregnancy?
Let's see. It was like after my first trimester. So it was like in the beginning of my second trimester.
And that's such a hard like decision to make, especially like being with your baby daddy for the beginning of your pregnancy. Like I know I was with Layla's dad for like a few weeks, but I like knew in my head I was like, this is gonna work.
You knew that this was not gonna work out.
Yeah. So like how did you like bring yourself to like make that final decision, like I'm doing this on my own? Because that's huge. It's like going like a completely different path.
Oh, for sure.
Like having a family, making it work, or like figuring out co-parenting. Like
you really think like, okay, we're gonna make it work and we're gonna have a family. But then I feel like I put Sawyer first with where our relationship was at and like how I was being treated, because during like even before my pregnancy, I was never made a priority. I was always like after friends, after other activities. And but then I got pregnant and that really like showed me his true colors. I feel like you really find out who a guy is when you're having a baby with them.
Sadly.
Like,
that's what it takes to find out.
That's what it takes. And actually, that's what it took for me to actually have the strength to leave.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't about me anymore. It was about Sawyer.
100%.
And I wouldn't want Sawyer to, like, look at her family that we created and be like, that's what love is.
Right, yeah. Like, look at that as an example of how, like, you're supposed to be treated.
I wanted her to grow up in a loving, stable, consistent household, and I was willing to do whatever it took.
I love that.
So that's what I did, and it was the best choice that I made.
Yeah.
And I also, like, for myself, too, I wasn't going to be treated like I was nothing.
Right. When you're literally carrying his baby.
Exactly. Like, I knew that I deserved to be a priority. My daughter deserved to be a priority, even though she was in my belly.
When did you do it and how?
It was, like, in the beginning of my second trimester, but before that, because I was dealing with so many of other people's emotions, like I wasn't able to deal with my own, and I was just constantly like just
stressed out
and like because of him and his family.
Yeah.
And so I just needed I needed a break. I needed to get away. So I actually went to Florida for my birthday, and it was like gonna be a short, like a few days, and I actually flew home. The next day, I decided I want to go back, so I booked a flight and I flew back.
Oh wait, I did not know that.
Yeah, I really did. I was like,
I'm done.
Need to go back, and so I did, and I stayed there for a month with my grandparents, and it was like the best experience because I really got to I got to be excited. You know what I mean? Like I got to enjoy being pregnant for like the first time.
Yeah.
Because I started to realize like it was such a joy, you know, like
because it
gonna be her mom is gonna be the best thing in my life.
Yeah, and it's like you want to be happy about it, but with everything going on, like you couldn't.
It's hard because you're dealing with everybody else.
Yeah.
So I just needed to prioritize like myself, and so I did. And I just had a lot of like realizations and like what my life was gonna be like and what I wanted hers to be like. And I actually found out she was a girl there too.
Aww.
Yeah, that was drama too.
Oh yeah.
We'll get into that later. So when I came back, like I knew I wanted to keep trying. So I gave him like more chances. And then he still never
stepped up
to that. So I decided to move back home to my parents' house because I was living in Maryland to be closer to him.
Yeah, it's like an hour away from here.
Yeah.
So like a little bit.
And I also had job opportunities, and that was really important to me as well because I wanted to be able to financially support my daughter. And he was able, like, we had a whole conversation with the parents, like, he was gonna, like, he could come and move to Delaware as well.
Like, to move in with you guys?
Yeah.
So they offered that for him?
They offered that for him. I was really trying to make it work. But then it just, like, never happened.
Yeah.
Like, he just never stepped up to the plate and never gave, like, a full effort of, like, trying to be a good boyfriend and showing, you know, what, like, a good father figure would be like.
Yeah.
So I did what was best for me and Sawyer, and I broke up with him. We can go into, like, the whole co-parenting, and I never wanted to be the mom that Sawyer would, like, eventually know to, like, push him out. I didn't want to be that mom to be like...
Right, and her think, like, oh, I don't know him because you pushed me away.
Yeah, I didn't want to be the reason for that. So I made sure, like, he knew the door's open, co-parenting, stuff like that, if he showed the effort to it.
Yeah, obviously with boundaries, because, like,
the rest of the pregnancy was very interesting. I did it on my own, didn't see him, didn't really talk to him. And honestly, I'm glad it happened that way.
Yeah.
Because I was happy, I was thriving, Sawyer was thriving, like, in my belly. We were healthy, like, it was... I had a really good rest of my pregnancy.
Honestly, I feel like being pregnant, it takes a really, really good partner to, like, help you throughout pregnancy and all of that. So I feel like if it, like, they're not 100%, being pregnant alone is, like, so much better.
It really is, because, like, you don't have to worry about them.
Yeah, it's like their emotions and, like, dealing with your relationship isn't affecting you and your pregnancy.
Yeah.
Even for me with, like, my pregnancy with Anna, Logan and I still, like, were early on in our relationship. We'd only been together 5 months. We still had a lot to work on together and, like, build our relationship, and, you know, there's a lot that goes into, like,
absolutely,
relationship and parenting at the same time. So I feel like my pregnancy with Anna was also harder because we were, like,
you're trying to figure things
that out as well.
And on top of that, you already had a 1-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. So it was, like, so much at once. But yeah, I feel like relationships on top of pregnancy, like, can be a lot.
And I truly believe that it shows everybody's true colors.
Yeah, it does. It brings out all of the things that you have to deal with. It's like, deal with it now. Because before the baby comes, deal with it now. So yeah, that honestly made Logan and I grow a lot.
That's great, though, that it worked for you guys because you put in that effort and because you made
so
the priority to be a family.
Yeah, exactly. It takes a big person to do it.
It does.
So your pregnancy was all smooth up until the end, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I had a healthy pregnancy. Everything went really well. But my hospital was an hour and a half away because I chose to go to a hospital with a NICU.
Yeah.
It's just something that I really felt my whole pregnancy, like, I needed. I'm so, so glad I did.
Right, because the hospital close to us, like, it's, 5 minutes down the road here? It's a really small, like, little... I mean,
it's like a small hometown hospital.
Yeah,
no NICU.
Yeah, there's no NICU. They have to airlift
to the hospital that I went to.
Yeah, they have to airlift you if you have any, like, busy emergencies.
Like,
especially for, like,
fact
babies.
that the mom would have to stay at the little hospital and the baby, because you would still be recovering.
That's the most terrifying thing to me.
It really is. And I knew somebody that had that happen to them, and I was, like, determined. I was like, I'm not giving birth there. Like, it just scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So I talked to my doctors, and we decided that the best route was to be induced at 39 weeks. And it was a crazy experience.
Yeah, because then that way you don't have to worry about making it to the hospital.
Yeah.
If you, like, just go into labor.
I told her, like, my family has quick births.
Yeah. Imagine if I, like, for all of my, I guess except for Anna, I wouldn't have made it. Yeah.
So that was, like, what we decided, and she, like, they, like, text you to, like, when to come in. They said, come in at 9 o'clock at night on the 6th. So me and my mom, like, after she got done work, took my brother actually to a walk-in clinic because he had an ear infection at the time.
Come on, Tyler.
I know. I was like, really? This is not the time. And then, so we came home, like she did, and we got the bags, like, all ready, and we headed to the hospital. And I was actually having contractions.
Wait, pause. I have to say this. Madison is literally the cutest ever and made gift baskets for the nurses at the hospital to bring.
I actually highly recommend it because they, like, loved it, and I just felt, like, so, like, nice. I was like,
You are
so nice of me. And I had, a suitcase for my mom. I feel like a suitcase is so much easier because you can put everything in it and you just roll it.
100%. I always tried to stuff things into duffel bags.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah, definitely suitcase.
So,
small suitcase.
Yeah, just a little one, and it's perfect. Plus, because it was an hour and a half away. So we came in, I, got all ready and stuff, what they did, taking your blood pressure, getting
all the vitals. I feel like when you're, in that... At least for me, because I was, in labor, I had no clue what was going on. I was just do whatever you have to do. Which is kind of bad, because, you should know what is, happening. But they're just, putting IVs in, putting up monitors. I'm just, don't know what's going on.
This person came in, and she put in a Foley bob, which is basically a balloon in your cervix to start opening it up.
I had never heard of that.
So when they were doing that, though, they accidentally broke my water. So, I thought I peed myself. I was I literally asked, I was did I just pee myself? What? So they put that in, and they also put in this, little pill to, soften your cervix to really get you ready for labor. Usually, I feel like labor, because I don't know, but it's, supposed to be, 5 minutes, 3 minutes,
the contractions, get closer and closer together.
Mine automatically started, 20 minutes after that. I got them every 1 to 2 minutes apart. Yeah.
Wait, so what was the timeline? This was, right when you got to the hospital?
Yeah, so I probably got induced at, 9:30.
Okay.
And then they did all what they needed to do.
Yeah.
And then I started getting contractions back to back already, which I was not expecting. And I also had back labor, but I felt the contractions in my stomach as well.
Yeah.
So it was, both.
Honestly, contractions are, your whole core.
And it's, the weirdest feeling. And you can feel it go, starting. And I would be able to tell my mom, oh, it's, it's peak. And then it would go back down. Because she would watch the monitor.
On the monitor. Yeah.
And it was, kind of crazy. I started watching Gilmore Girls to, try to, get my mind off the contractions.
Did you have an epidural?
I didn't get an epidural at that point because the Foley bob is going to take you to, a 3 or 4. It was probably... till 2 in the morning until I finally hit 4 centimeters.
Yeah.
Once it falls out, because there's a string, and they just pull it out. It's a tampon.
Oh god.
It's very uncomfortable too. It's actually, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but it was the worst pain for them to insert that stupid balloon.
Yeah, I could imagine, because I know I've gotten a couple IUDs, and they have to clamp you open. It's terrifying.
It is. Once they took the Foley bob out, I then got an epidural because they were going to start doing Pitocin to speed up your labor, and it was 2 in the morning, and I got the epidural. Epidural was a breeze. Didn't feel it. Wasn't scared. Now my mom, on the other hand, saw it, and she was in front of me, and she almost passed out.
Oh my god.
So and it didn't hurt at all. It was the least painful thing, I feel honestly.
Oh, that's good.
But, you're supposed to, feel better after that. Mine didn't work. So, I, the amount of time they given me, and I was I still feel everything. I could tell my mom, when it started, peak, it felt the exact same.
Yeah.
So, they, came back and replaced it. And I was okay, I'm going to get a break. I'm going to be able to sleep. Because I haven't slept since, the morning of October 6th.
Yeah.
And it still didn't work. And by this time, it was 12 in the afternoon.
Oh my god. So it's been over 12 hours of
just
labor.
Constant back-to-back contractions.
Yeah.
Once I was really, not getting annoyed, but I was I need somebody to help me.
Yeah.
This is killing me right. Well, I guess it's not killing me, but it felt like it. And around that time, I had all the nurses and stuff. They would constantly come in and check on me. And I had this really sweet nurse. Her name is Katie, and she was a student nurse at the time. And throughout my whole labor, literally the sweetest girl ever. She would come in and do you want something to drink? She would talk to me, very personable, and I literally just love her. Getting closer to when I was gonna have Sawyer, and I started to feel my whole body felt so tense because the contractions were just I would just tense up so much that my muscles were spazzing.
Oh my god.
and I, like, had to sit up. So, like, the nurses helped me sit up, but I couldn't feel my legs because I had the epidural.
Yeah.
So she came in and, like, gave me a back massage.
Oh.
And then, I don't know why, but, like, then I started to throw up. So then they actually braided my hair while I was throwing up.
That's so cute.
Her and, like, her, I guess it was, like, the student nurse, like, boss.
Mm-hmm.
So they braided my hair, and as I'm, like, throwing up, and I was like, you guys are so sweet. Like, thank you so much. I was trying to be so nice to them because, like, this was, like, right after COVID, and I know nurses do so much, so I was like, I'm going to be the sweetest to them. Like, I feel like I did a good job.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I'm sure you did.
And then I felt, like, so much pressure. Mm-hmm. Like, you get that feeling, like, when you're ready to push. Did you get that with, like, your kids?
Oh, yeah. Like, you can, you know.
You do.
And that's why I hate, like, when you say, like, you feel like you have to push, and the doctor's like, no, not yet. And I'm like, no, sorry, my body is saying push.
No, they told me that. My OB's over there on the computer, like, I guess doing all the information stuff. And I was like, I really feel like I'm ready. Yeah. And I was like, out of 10. And they're like, we have to wait for the OB. We have to wait. And I was like,
who's waiting? Because this baby's not waiting for anyone.
Like, oh, my gosh. She's like, let's just do practice pushes. And so, like, we did a few practice pushes. And then the OB. Really?
How do you do that? Like, for breathing and stuff?
Yeah, like, you, like, just, like, I'm not going to, like, demonstrate it. Okay, funny story. Before, like, throughout my whole pregnancy, I would practice push so I knew what to do.
I can imagine you, like, pretending.
No, I really did. Like, in the bed, I would be like, I'd, like, I swear it worked because I was, like, really good at pushing.
Like, I would, like, accidentally pee myself.
So, like, it was finally ready, and I got this, like, overwhelming feeling of, like, calmness.
Mm-hmm. I think we talked about this in the last episode, but it's, like, it's right crazy. When you're about to give birth, you just, like, feel peace.
You do. Like, it's very amazing. Spiritual.
Yes.
And finally, Sawyer made her entrance. I pulled her out myself.
That is amazing.
It was so cool.
I just found that out the other day when we were talking about it, and I, like, was so jealous because I, like, didn't know you could do that.
They
I feel
asked
like I was
me,
way too scared. I would be too scared to, like, I can't see what's going on down there.
I was just, like...
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Before we started, like, fully pushing, though, they're like, do you want to, like, pull her out? And I was like, yes.
I feel like at BB they wouldn't let you do that.
Really? Probably, because it's a smaller hospital.
At least not the doctor that was looking.
Yeah, because she's a crazy person.
Yeah.
So, like, when I pulled Sawyer up to my chest, it was seriously the best feeling in the entire world.
Yeah.
Like, there's no feeling that can ever compare to that.
Seriously, no, there's not.
Like, you want to just, like, stay in that moment forever.
It's like you're meeting for the first time, but, like, you've known them your whole life.
Exactly.
I always wish I could just, like, relive those moments.
I know.
Like, it makes me understand.
We have pictures, but, like, it's just not the same.
I know. It makes me kind of understand why people have, like, 10 kids.
I know. I want more. Just, like, right now. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, you have to push your placenta out, but I tore so bad. I had, like, 3rd-degree tears. Is that what it's called? Like, degree?
I have no clue.
Yeah, well, I tore like that, and then I also had internal tearing.
Oh, my God.
Thanks, Sawyer. I'm all healed now,
She has a big head, that's why.
She really does. She's in, like, the 90th percentile for her head still.
And then I'm all healed now. You're like, don't worry, guys. It's all fine.
It is. It's all good, I promise. They were, like, stitching me up, and Sawyer was on my chest, and they hook up, like, the little, on their foot, you know, to, like, hear monitor. Their vitals and stuff. And it was, like, 30 minutes after, and this was, like, probably, I always say that Sawyer's birthday, which is October 7th, is the best day of my life, but it's also literally the scariest, because she stopped breathing, like, and it wasn't even right after she was born, it was literally, like, 35 minutes, and all of a sudden, this little, like, thing started beeping, and then I had a nurse, like, just calmly come and take her. Very calmly, didn't even know what was happening.
Yeah.
And she took her to the other side of the room where all of, like, the baby stuff is. And she went up to, I vividly remember, there's, like, a thing on the wall. Like, I guess it was a phone. And I can't remember if she said 911 or code blue. It was something like that.
Yeah,
and I watched, like, Grey's Anatomy and, like, Chicago Med. So I'm like, I'm not an idiot. So she, like, when she did that, like, all of these nurses, I had 15 to 20 nurses and doctors and, like, the whole NICU team just rush in, and they closed the curtain to the other side of the room. And I remember my mom...
Like, so you couldn't see her?
Yeah. I remember my mom, like, looking at me like, where do I go? Do I stay with you? Do I go with her? And I just looked at her and I was like, you need to go with her.
Yeah.
Like, go.
Yeah.
I just got chills. My mom went over with Sawyer, and I was just laying in the bed getting stitched up, and like it was just me and my OB for the longest time. And Sawyer, seeing her, she was just limp.
Yeah.
Like there was no reflexes, there was no
God.
crying, there was nothing. And
Terrifying.
like it was just super, super scary to see
Literally
it.
Every new mom's like worst fear.
It really was.
Yeah.
And then finally I had another student nurse come like by my side to like not like update me, but like console me, because I don't think I've ever like cried and like screamed that much until that moment, because I just had my brand new baby that is like the joy of my life, and it felt like everything was being taken away from me.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
So she was like letting me like, it's okay, they're working on her, like it's okay. And then I remember I finally heard her cry.
Oh my God.
And it was like it was the most like amazing feeling just to hear her like knowing she's okay, like she's alive. She had fluid in her lungs and like meconium. They had to like tube her and just like do it that way. So if I saw that, I think that's why they closed the curtain.
Yeah, that would be horrifying.
She was okay finally. They thought she was gonna have to go to the NICU for a little bit, but then she bounced back like nothing.
Oh, amazing. How long was it that they were like...
It was like 40 minutes.
Oh my God, that she was on the other side? Holy crap.
Yeah.
It
was so scary.
Probably felt like years.
Forever.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do was like get up from that stupid bed and just like walk over to her. I was like really thankful that my mom was there to like be with her.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it's not like Sawyer would know, but just knowing like she had somebody there with her, you know, made me feel a little more comforted.
Definitely.
Also, that she had 15 people like there that knew what they were doing definitely helped the situation.
Yeah, it's so good you were there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I felt like my instinct to go there was like for a reason. And then of course, like they finally like gave her back to me, put her on my chest, we did skin to skin, started breastfeeding.
Did you have to stay any longer at the hospital or?
No, but she did have a little bit of jaundice, so they weren't sure if we were going to have to stay an extra day, but then I ended up, like, her levels leveled out, I guess.
Yeah.
Back to normal. Even though it was the best day of my life, like, and the scariest. It was our story.
It's like just preparing you for motherhood, like the best and also some of the scariest times. It's crazy.
But I feel like it gave me, like, a sense of, like I can get through it. You know what I mean? Like, anything that is, like, thrown into my life, like, after that moment, I was like, I'm strong enough to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, mentally.
100%.
Like, I can do it. I am strong. I am Sawyer's mom. Like, I've got this. I do remember FaceTiming you, like, right after I got moved to the postpartum wing.
Oh
and
my
I was
gosh.
like,
I
Yasmyn.
literally was sobbing. I was, like, 9 months pregnant. Like, I was waiting for my baby, and I was like, Madison's FaceTiming me. Like, there's definitely going to be a baby.
Yeah, because I know you text me, but I was on my phone, like, in the beginning when I first got there.
Yeah.
I wasn't on my phone at all, maybe besides like twice to like take a video. And then she did it for Millie for me.
Yeah.
And she had Millie, she FaceTimed me. I was like, it's just like the best feeling.
It's so fun going through pregnancy and like having your babies around the same time.
Yes.
It's like so fun.
Because you're so excited for the person that you're pregnant with. Like,
and then it's just like double the babies.
It is. And then Anna and Layla have basically twins, so they don't have to fight.
Yeah, they have two babies to play with.
I feel like we're so lucky.
I know.
You know?
Yeah, little girl gang.
This was the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yes, the little friends.
Okay, thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode of our podcast.
Yes, make sure you're following our other social media platforms.
Yeah, we'll have those all linked down below for you guys.
Stay tuned for more episodes.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.